Belinda Russell. I'm the Director of Recruitment Strategy at Headlands Research, and I'm joined today with beautiful people from Toronto Memory Program, and we're going to be talking about the underrepresented in clinical trials. I'd love to give it to you, Justine, to introduce yourself, and then to Arshi, please.
Perfect, great. So my name is Justine. I'm the Manager of Clinical Trial Recruitment at Toronto Memory Program.
And my name is Arshi Semy. I am the Diversity and Inclusion Officer here at Toronto Memory Program.
What exactly inspired you to start a diversity initiative, specifically clinical trial participants in Canada?
Sure, absolutely. So we are located in Toronto, which is the most diverse city in Canada, and we also have the largest Alzheimer's disease clinical research site. So since we have the most diverse city, half of our population identifies as a visible minority. However, this diversity is not being reflected within our research program, or wasn't being reflected before Arshi came onto our team. So recognizing this gap, we created a role called the Diversity and Inclusion Officer role, which we're really excited about. Arshi was onboarded in February of 2024. And she works very hard to increase diversity in clinical trials through various initiatives in the community, like events and partnerships, through social media, and a lot of other methods. So we've had great success.
How do you define diversity in the context of clinical trials for your clinical trials? Which groups are you focusing on and why?
For sure. So as a clinical research site in Toronto, as Justine said, diversity for us is very intentional, and it means intentionally including participants from a broad range of racial, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds to better reflect the city's rich demographic landscape. So, of course, we welcome everyone to partake in research, but we are making those intentional, tailored efforts to engage participants from racial minority backgrounds to better represent the diversity that the city holds. And some of these larger groups include the South Asian population in Canada, which is about 14%, Black and Caribbean populations, which are around 9%, as well as East Asian and Southeast Asian populations that are around 16%. So diversity in research for us is absolutely essential, because the fact is that different racial groups are potentially going to respond differently to the same medication. So by understanding this fact and embracing diversity, we gain a broader understanding of the varied health experiences that people have, but also importantly, the health outcomes that these people experience. So this just helps to make our research more relevant, more equitable, and accessible to everyone.
Are there specific strategies that you're using to recruit the underrepresented groups that you're talking about?
For sure. So, I think the foundation or the heart of our outreach strategy is guided by two very important principles, and these would be transparency and trust building. So these are that foundation that we have that laid out to structure all the interactions we have with particularly the racial minority communities that we're hoping to engage. So transparency, for one, means being open, honest, and clear about our intentions, the process involved, and the expected outcomes. We really want community members to feel fully informed at every stage of their involvement with us. And trust building really goes hand in hand with transparency as well. So it's more than just providing information. It goes beyond that to create an environment in which people feel, they feel safe, they feel valued, and they feel seen, they feel represented. And for us, what this looks like and what this means is being consistent, I think, most importantly above all. And consistency is about maintaining a dependable presence in the community, showing up over time so people can trust that we're here for the long run and we're not just here to be in and out. And it also means active listening. So taking the time to listen and learn from feedback that we receive. And it's not always structured feedback either, right? It's comments in passing and conversations, and these things we definitely want to take to heart to grow and improve our processes together. And finally, and most importantly, I would say it's definitely about recognizing and respecting the cultural differences that exist between different racial minority communities, to really honor the unique backgrounds that they bring and the specific needs that they're bringing with them as well. So adapting our approach to make sure that it resonates with these communities and their cultural needs is very, very important. But in terms of specific strategies, I think we're definitely taking a multifaceted approach to building long-term and sustainable connections between underrepresented communities and memory care. So like Justine said, one of our very key strategies is community partnerships. We've been collaborating with local cultural organizations, community centers to offer free memory testing events, presentations, and also participate in community health fairs. So this not only is raising awareness about Alzheimer's disease within these communities, a lot of the time, these are not conversations that are happening. So just starting that, prompting that conversation, prompting the sharing of experiences, that's huge. But also we're seeing, related and directly related to that, we're seeing an increase in diverse participation in our research efforts as well. In addition to this, we're also using targeted social media ads to engage specific diverse groups across the GTA. Some of these ads are specifically designed to encourage diverse participation with photos that reflect the racial groups we're hoping to reach. And on this same vein, we've actually developed informational materials that emphasize the importance of diverse recruitment as well. So our brochures and our resources are designed to be relevant to the racially diverse populations we're targeting. I actually have one here with me. This is our diversity in clinical research brochure. I actually designed this myself. And the bottom, it really just says here, it says finding treatments together. And we've got a couple of different community members up here to really reflect the diversity that the city holds. So that's just one example.
It sounds like you do have some partnerships in the community or organizations that you're working with to enhance these recruitment efforts.
Definitely. So partnerships are a crucial effort, or a crucial aspect of our approach to building trust and engaging underserved populations. The fact of the matter is that we know trust takes time, and we can't rush that process, especially if we're talking about building sustainable, long-term, meaningful relationships. So instead, we direct our energy, we focus our efforts on leveraging existing relationships that community centers, social service agencies, and local leaders have already built within these communities, right? They've been here, a lot of these organizations have been standing for 30, 40, 50 years. So through these community collaborations, we've been able to make a real impact in the short time that I've been doing this work. For example, since my onboarding in February, we've already hosted 18 memory testing events across the city, delivered 5 tailored presentations on Alzheimer's disease and clinical research specifically for racial minority populations. We've participated as vendors in 3 seniors health and wellness fairs. We've got a couple coming up, and we've established partnerships with 14 social service and community organizations that serve diverse senior populations. These efforts alone, not including our social media outreach efforts, have directly engaged around 400 diverse individuals in just 9 months.
Can you describe, though, how these efforts have maybe changed the participant demographics at your site, or since launching this?
For sure. So since launching this initiative, we've definitely seen a notable increase in diverse participation at our site. For example, earlier this year in one of our Alzheimer's prevention studies, we achieved a 32 diverse screening rate, 32 people in just Q2 alone. This is a huge jump from the 5 diverse screens we were averaging per quarter before my role was created. That is a 540% increase in just a few months. But so far in this year, in 2024, 21% of our total screens identify as diverse. That's about 76 out of 353. But October particularly marked our highest month for diverse screenings this year, with about 36% of participants identifying as diverse. So it's been really exciting and really rewarding to see these changes, and we're definitely committed to this upward momentum. At the end of the day, it's definitely great that we're getting people in to screen for research and to make sure that we're getting as much variance, as much diversity as we can. But at the end of the day, it's also important to remember the individual or micro level impacts that this has on people and their access to early testing and early diagnosis, and for not only themselves, but their loved ones. So it's been definitely really rewarding to see that.
How do you continue to foster this type of welcoming and inclusive environment for the site?
I think a big part of creating a welcoming and inclusive space is making sure that people feel represented and respected from the very first point of contact that they have with us. So in this digital day and age, usually the first point of contact is our website and is like a kind of digital introduction. So one of the key things I've worked on since I've gotten on board here is creating a diversity and including landing page for our website. This page is up now, so you're more than welcome to check it out, but this page is designed to provide clear, accessible information about the importance of diverse participation in clinical research and the steps that we're taking to ensure that people feel welcome at our site. But to me, honestly, fostering inclusivity is about more than just the clinical setting. It's about being part of the community. It's about being present. So that's why we make every effort we can to engage with participants beyond their appointments, whether it's through the community events we attend, the fairs I'm at, follow-up conversations we have with folks, or just ensuring that they know we're there to support them every step of the way. So I go to the same community center, for example, once every month or so for a memory testing event, and I definitely see folks who I've done memory testing for or who I spoke to about research, and it's really harmful to try to just stop that conversation right there to say, oh, we talked about research and that's kind of it. Rather, I think it's powerful and impactful to when I keep seeing these people again, to remember things they've told me, to remember their names or something they told me about their son or something they told me about their daughter, making sure that they're doing well. That goes a long way in terms of building trust, and that's something that I think is really important when we're talking about building inclusivity and fostering inclusivity at our site.
Is there something that you can talk about as far as challenges to implementing this initiative, or that you could share with others?
Definitely. I think right away the biggest thing that we faced is trust building. That is going to take some time, and especially with underrepresented communities, a lot of people from these diverse backgrounds, there has been a long history of mistrust in medical research for these folks, and they're well aware of it. And this is especially true in communities that have been historically marginalized or have had negative experiences with healthcare systems. So even though, we have the right intentions and many other sites may have the right intentions, it's important to remember that it will take time to overcome those barriers and build meaningful relationships. But the most important thing is to have that groundwork and that foundation of equity in your approach and in the practices. So transparency and trust for us are those foundations, and that is something that can help to build that long-term relationship in the long run.
Now, as we think about being hopeful and positive, what type of impact do you hope that this initiative will have in the broader field of clinical research in Canada?
So, in the long run, I hope our efforts will inspire other research sites across Canada and the States to take similar steps, recognizing that diversity isn't something that's just nice to have or a checkbox that we need to, tick off, but it's a fundamental requirement for equitable and high quality research. So we also hope that our work will help to build trust in communities and underrepresented communities regarding the clinical research process. By engaging these populations in meaningful ways, transparent ways, we really hope to demonstrate over time that research can be a tool for equity and that people from all backgrounds have a stake in the outcomes.
Amazing. I think you've hit every point that we need to think about. If we want to duplicate something like this, it must be intentional. It should be something that you don't go into thinking it's going to be overnight, that you're going to build and build it and they will come. It won't be as easy as that. It will take time to build this trust that we're all needing to do with our communities, to engage with them and then to offer the clinical trials. It's very very thoughtful and amazing. I know that you guys are creating an impact in your community that's going to be felt for a long time. So thank you for all of it.